welcome back. We're talking about Soul Food Love by authors Alice Randall and her daughter Caroline Randall Williams. Such a beautiful book that you all have written about the history of the women who have cooked some great meals from the past, but also all of your contributions to the meals today. Before we took a break, we talked about the pear recipe and the dress box apples that you used to have as a child, Alice, but now Caroline has turned them into much a healthier version, but still a very beautiful version of that recipe in the form of the jugged pears there.
I love this. Caroline has done so many amazing new recipes. She has, you know, Nashville's known for its hot chicken. Well, Caroline has renovated the hot chicken. Do you want to tell them about that, sweetie?
Oh, absolutely. We like to say in our family that fried chicken is the bad boyfriend. It's so good, but you really got to kick it out.
Now and then, you do. You're right.
But roasted chicken is the good boyfriend that you can have over whenever and introduce to your mother. And she'll approve. So I have a spicy pepper chicken that still gets some of that color, all of the heat, and I teach you how to crisp the skin a little bit when you're roasting it, so you still get some of that crunch of, you know, so it's a really delicious alternative that I'm really proud of, because we couldn't have a cookbook that came out of Nashville that didn't have a hot chicken somewhere in there.
Right.
And one of the other things I'm so proud of is that Caroline has so many vegetarian recipes.
Oh, absolutely.
And one of the reasons I love that is that people don't recognize the long black vegetarian tradition that goes to the Seventh-day Adventists. And of course, Grandma Bontemps and her husband were, the poet Arnold Bontemps, were Seventh-day Adventists originally. And so she's got this wonderful poet's pot pie that's like chicken pot pie, but instead of having a crust, it has a sweet potato mash on it.
Wow.
On top.
It's scrumptious. Now, it's interesting to me also that you've been able to sort of really transform these recipes. Most people think that you got to keep it the way it was originally, right? That you don't get the same flavors, that you don't get the same beautiful look of the food if you change it from the way Grandma used to make it. So talk a little bit about making that transition and how you were able to kind of change these very, very fabulous works of art in meal, some might say, to what you can eat today that's somewhat healthier.
Well, I think that was one of the most exciting projects for me when I was researching the recipes and also, you know, experimenting with them, was to actually realize that so much of the health in this book already belonged to Black foodways, to Southern foodways. And what I realized was that we have somewhere along the line conflated celebration food and everyday food. You know, I have a good friend that I made in the Delta, and you know, she had some weight struggles, and she was talking to me about how her mother-in-law had come to her house and said, "You have a cake in this house every week." When I was coming up, we used to have cake a couple times a year. It's not special if you eat it every week, and it's not good for you. And it got me thinking about the fact that, like, what were we eating every day, day in and day out, when we were working all day, you know, in the sun, when we had all these children. So I started to think about that, and I thought about my grandfather growing up in Selma and how he loved baked red snapper. I thought about the fact that my great-grandmother, Alberta, she would talk about eating a baked sweet potato as breakfast or lunch. I thought about the fact that this food begins, it has its if you go all the way back, it begins in Africa, where there are lots of greens, you know, lots of spices, we have the peanut, we love peanuts in our cookbook. So I think that one of my exciting projects was to say, no, we already have this. Our foodways are that dynamic. We get to bring this back. We get to claim health for ourselves, you know, and say that it began with us, and that and we can own it, you know. And so I think a lot of my desire in writing my recipes was to revive things that we'd forgotten, you know, as these like big chain restaurants tell us that all we're supposed to eat is macaroni and cheese, you know. I wanted to remember that the baked sweet potato is ours, that homemade peanut butter, George Washington Carver at Tuskegee came up with that. That stuff is our food. You know?
And that's exciting. She didn't have to renovate so many recipes, although she did renovate some.
Yes.
I
revived them.
Yeah, she revived
Revived
forgotten
them.
slow
Yes.
cooked staples. We're also putting forth the sardine, which is something Grandma Bontemps ate as a little girl
Yes.
in Waycross, Georgia. You know,
With
you
some
want to talk
hot
about
sauce
fast
and
food,
lemon.
open a can of sardines, squeeze some lemon over it, Louisiana hot sauce.
And the old school folks are already doing it. They still do that. They still eat sardines for dinner.
And sardines are incredibly healthy for you, and it's also great for the ecology of the planet.
Yeah.
You know that fishing sardines is easier on the environment than salmon fishing, for example.
Absolutely.
You don't have a culinary background, either of you, though.
No, she's a home cook. Well, I studied with Julia Child for credit at Harvard.
She did have some culinary
Okay.
background.
Caroline inherited over 1,000 cookbooks from her grandmother.
I was
Joan.
homeschooled,
Wow.
literally and figuratively.
Literally. Yes, yes.
I have many. I have almost 2,000 cookbooks that I inherited from my grandmother, Joan Randall Williams, and I definitely have made a study of them. But it's all home cooking and experimentation, and just being invested in keeping our food alive and helping it grow and thrive and sustain our bodies as well as our souls.
And that's one of the things that's great about Caroline's cookbook, that we aren't professional chefs and cooks.
Yes.
That anyone can cook these recipes.
Yes.
They're easy, they're tasty, and they're cheap.
Although I have a funny story about that.
Okay.
About anyone who
Okay.
cooked these recipes.
Because they look so gorgeous, so I'm a little afraid to try it, but I'm going to try it. I've read the stories, and now I'm ready to
I
get
had
cooking.
one of my friends one of my friends bought the cookbook, and he called me asking where he could find sweet potato broth at the grocery store, because he was trying to make one of my recipes.
Yes.
And I said, "Don't you see that in the recipe it says
says
sweet potato
page.
broth is on page?" And
Yes.
he was like, "I thought that was a suggestion." And I said, "I came up with sweet potato broth. Maybe one day it'll be in the grocery store with my name on it."
Absolutely. That's right. That's right.
And that's a great cheap stock that you can make at home and
Yes.
quick. The sweet potato broth, and it's better than chicken stock. It's better than
Absolutely.
most vegetable stocks, and it's easy. And again, it's ours.
Well, and this will tell you, an hour later, he texted me a picture of the completed soup. So from not knowing where the ready-made stuff was to composing the entire dish in an hour, having to drive
Not
home from the
bad.
grocery store, I was pretty proud of him.
Not bad at all.
And so and these recipes do look beautiful. These are recipes
do.
that everyone can do. Kids can help in the kitchen with them. We have a shrimp salad in there that if you use the flash frozen, already cooked shrimp, you can make without turning on the stove. So that's something a teenager, a 13-year-old can do with
Right.
supervision.
Or a mother who's in a hurry.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's the other one.
Yes. What do you hope what is the goal, I guess, and the wish and the desire for this book?
Well, one of the goals is we are experiencing 1 in every 4 middle-aged black women have diabetes in America. And these, as I said, these recipes are Caroline's love letters to me. And through these recipes right now, I don't have diabetes and I'm not pre-diabetic. And I think these recipes and the healthy food eating is a big part of that. It's not the whole picture. So what we hope is to make healing the body joyful and tasty. We hope to put history and health on a tasty soul food plate. And I hope to launch an ambassador for that. Caroline is the Healthy Soul Food Ambassador, and she's the one who is honoring the past but walking to the future.
I love the way you put that, her love letters to you. Is that how you see it as well?
Oh, absolutely.
Making sure your mom is around as long as she can be around and as healthy as she can be through your love recipes.
Oh my gosh, when she told me that she was ready to go on this mission, I cannot tell you how relieved and excited I was. I mean, I think that coming full circle back to why we wrote the book, is because I love my mom and I want her to be healthy. And we realized that this was a conversation that a lot of families are having. A lot of, young men and women are thinking about their family members and saying like how. So I think for me, the hope for the book is that it puts people back in their kitchens in a way that helps sustain their bodies as well as their souls.
And it's fun to be back in your kitchen.
Yeah.
But ultimately, this book is a joyful, fun book to read. And it's also about saving our lives while having fun.
Yeah.
The only time you're going to ever have fun saving your life is cooking some of these tasty recipes.
Wow. We've got a little less than a minute left. I want to make sure people know, first of all, where to find the book, Soul Food Love, Healthy Recipes Inspired by 100 Years of Cooking in the Black Family. Where can they get it? Amazon, everywhere?
It's in Parnassus, everywhere books are sold.
Everywhere books are sold.
It's at Walmart. It's everywhere books are sold, this book.
Fantastic, and well worth the investment, I will tell you. I can vouch for that. And also, you've got a number of different things. You've been on Dr. Oz, you're going to the Essence Festival. How can people get in touch, find out more about what's going on?
They can follow us on our Facebook page, Soul Food Love on Facebook. They can visit soulfoodlove.com. They can email us at soulfoodlove@gmail.com, or you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram. It's just Caro Ran Will, because my name Caroline Randall Williams.
Yes.
That's my handle, at Caro Ran Will, and I love to respond. I love to respond to people who tweet at me.
Thank you so much, Caroline. Thank you so much, Alice. And thank you all for being with us. We'll see you next time.
Yay.